Would you stand to welcome the gospel? Coming to us today from Matthew chapter 4. Jesus was led up by the Spirit into the wilderness to be tempted by the devil. He fasted 40 days and 40 nights, and afterwards he was famished. The tempter came and said to him, "If you are the Son of God, command these stones to become loaves of bread." But he answered, "It is written, 'One does not live by bread alone, but by every word that comes from the mouth of God.'" Then the devil took him to the holy city and placed him on the pinnacle of the temple, saying to him, "If you are the Son of God, throw yourself down, for it is written, 'He will command his angels concerning you, and on their hands they will bear you up, so that you will not dash your foot against a stone.'" Jesus said to him, "Again it is written, 'Do not put the Lord your God to the test.'" Again the devil took him to a very high mountain and showed him all the kingdoms of the world and their splendor. And he said to him, "All these I will give you, if you will fall down and worship me." Jesus said to him, "Away with you, Satan, for it is written, 'Worship the Lord your God and serve only him.'" Then the devil left him, and suddenly angels came and waited on him. This is the gospel of the Lord. Praise to you, O Christ. You may be seated. I share one thing in common with Indiana Jones. It's the dashing good looks. I kid. Nope. Like Indiana Jones, I hate snakes. They absolutely terrify me. And I'll tell you, God has got a sense of humor. Because my middle son, Maxton, absolutely loves snakes. And in fact, wants a ball python. Now, I need all of you to listen to me very carefully right now. In a previous sermon, I talked about wanting a red Pontiac GTO, and a number of you came through and got me a number of cars, little toys. I appreciate them greatly. But if anybody gets my son a ball python, we are bringing back excommunication. We will consider purgatory, or whatever else we have to. Are we good and clear on this? All right. Because I do not care for snakes. My motto used to be, the only good snake is a dead snake. Now, I have evolved, all right? I can appreciate the fact that there are good snakes. Black snakes, wonderful. They eat the bad snakes, okay? In fact, at our home, we have two very healthy-looking black snakes that live in the yard, and I appreciate them now. From a distance, but I appreciate them, and I'm glad they're very well fed because clearly they're doing their job. So, as I said, I have come to evolve on the idea of snakes, and there's interesting tidbits about snakes that we kind of get from in connection with our Genesis reading today. Snakes have this remarkable potential for both good and bad. I mean, if you get bitten by a venomous snake, this is probably not good, right? It's like run to the hospital right now, you're going to be sick. If it's a really bad bite, a really bad snake, it might kill you. So venomous snakes can be really bad, but venomous snakes, their venom can actually be used to make powerful medicines. So there's both good and bad there. Even those so-called bad snakes play an important role in balancing the ecosystem. They are important. They are vital, even if they can be dangerous to little dogs and not to little humans. So there's this potential with snakes for both good and bad. And that's true of some other people, isn't it? There is great potential in us for good and bad, for life and for death. And unfortunately, we so often choose the death option, the bad option, the evil option, and it happens with us all the time. I love the rest of the story from Genesis that we didn't get today. Adam and Eve eat of the fruit, and their eyes are opened, and all of this business. And a little bit later on, God shows up on the scene. And God, like a parent, knows what's happened. God just wants to hear it. Oh, Adam, where are you? What'd you do? And what's Adam say? She made me do it. But he took it a step further, too. You remember what else he said? The woman who you gave me, God, she made me do it. So Adam shifted the blame away from himself, that really it was his, right? Yeah. Shifted the blame from him to Eve and to God. Now, I'm going to teach you a Latin phrase. You want to learn some Latin today? Of course you do. Who doesn't want to come to church and learn some Latin? You can wow your friends and neighbors with this later on. This will be a little repeat after me. Incurvatus, inse. Incurvatus, inse. Now, what in the world does that mean? It means curved in on yourself. Or, as one of my seminary professors put it, navel gazing. All I see is me, myself, and I. I am the center of the universe. I am all this that matters. That's what Adam was doing in that scene there, curving in on himself, worrying about number one. He was the one that was most important. He was the one that needed to be taken care of. That, as Luther and Augustine before him said, is what sin is. Curved in on yourself. And again, we do this all the time, right? We make it all about me, what I want. Take care of number one. I'm the one that's important. All the rest of you, well, you don't really matter. So we have this great potential for good and evil, for right and wrong, for life and death. And so often we choose the me option over the we option, the community option. It happens to each one of us each and every day. There are great temptations that come to us and invite us to consider the benefit of our neighbor or to consider our own benefit. And here's a striking reality. You've heard me say this before, and I'm going to say this a whole lot more in our time together. Faith is not a just me and Jesus thing. It's never an individual practice. Faith is always a communal reality. Faith invites us into community. And so that the better we get to know our neighbor, by extension, the better we get to know God. You can't do it alone. It simply just doesn't work that way. But this is a great challenge for us because we are really good at separating ourselves, aren't we? I mean, we excel at it. I'll give you like 5 seconds. Think of one person you just don't like. Go. I'm glad nobody called it out. That could have been embarrassing. Take another one. I'll give you 5 seconds. Think of one group that you don't like. Go. You got some people and some groups that you kind of, if you're honest, know you don't like and you try to separate yourself? I hope you do. Because we've all got those people. Them. The others. The ones that we don't like. The ones that we want to separate ourselves from. We separate ourselves for any number of reasons. Somebody looks different than I do. Someone acts different than I do. They think in a way that I don't think. They vote for the party I don't like. They didn't go to the school I went to. They didn't go to school at all. They do a job that I don't like. And the list can go on and on and on. We constantly work to separate ourselves. And in so doing, we tear down community and our relationship with God. What Jesus does is Jesus comes in the midst of all the messiness of life and pulls us up from our curved-in nature to see the world with open eyes, as it really is, to see our neighbors. And in getting to know our neighbors better, we build a stronger, deeper relationship with God. So I've got a challenge for you this week, and it's not going to be an easy one. I want you to think long and hard about who those people are, who those groups are that you actively work to separate yourself from. I promise you, they are there. I'm a pastor, okay? I've got people. I got a list. I'm kidding, you're not on my list. I've got groups I try to keep myself away from, so this isn't like a holier-than-thou moment. This is a moment where we deeply reflect on how we are separating ourselves from one another. And then after you've thought of those people, those groups, how can you connect with them? How can you build relationship with them? And in so doing, you get to know your neighbor better, and you get to know God better. Amen.